Hey everyone, I want to welcome you guys to my Sorc build guide for PvP. We're going to be starting out with a pet setup and gear setup for newer players, and then I'm going to show you how to transition through with your gear and skill changes into more of an experienced 1vx playstyle. For this build, we are Dark Elf. This actually synergizes really well with everything we're doing. Because of getting the extra magicka and stamina, it really helps us to be able to survive in 1vx situations. Because we are a vampire, getting the extra flame resistance and becoming immune to the burning status effects is phenomenal. Getting the extra spell damage is great for our burst. Alright, for the gear, we're going to start off with Bright Throats. This will be our core piece of gear that we use throughout the entire transition. Our first staff is going to be the Flame Staff for all the direct damage bonuses out of the Destro passives. We run it in Nirn. And go ahead and, if you're new, go ahead and start with the Absorb Magic enchant to help you with your resources. On the back bar, we will be running the Resto Staff. However, we put it into defending to give us the extra resistances while we're stacking our shields and having to play defensive. But we are running it with the Escapist Poison. What this does is help you keep your Unstoppable up more, but also if you happen to be getting locked down while one of your light attacks is going out, if this procs, it can actually break you free. So it helps reserve your stamina from having to do that. Our monster set is Mighty Chudun to get the extra physical and spell resistance with a max health, and gaining our major wards and major resolve, so that way we don't have to have that skill slotted. Being able to save that extra space while running, having the dual bar a pet is really helpful. And of course, since it's a pet build, we're going to be running Necropotency. Now, all of the gear is going to have the Tri-Stat enchants to go ahead and help increase our max health and our max stamina. And pin on everything. For our jewelry, I do run the necklace infused for some extra spell damage, and spell damage enchants on all jewelry. Okay, so once you've gotten a little comfortable playing the build and you do not need the extra resistances on your back bar while you're shield stacking, the first change I'll make is to use a Resto Staff that is infused with the weapon damage enchant. This way we can better learn to time our burst. Doing it with the extra spell damage off the back bar, transitioning over, really helps a lot with getting our kills. And we lose the poisons off of that, obviously. And we go ahead and run double dot poisons on our front bar, attack bar. For our skills, I'm going to start off with Endless Fury. This is actually a huge part to being able to sustain with a Sorc build, especially in 1vx situations. And this particular morph goes ahead and gives us 4,860 magic back if we get a kill within 5 seconds of the target being hit with this ability. Now, that in and of itself isn't the greatest for sustain, but when you learn to apply it the correct way, you preload it, and then you do your best within that 5 seconds to get your kill with your Destruction Staff. And the reason why we do that is because of this passive. When you get a kill you're going to be getting an extra 3,600. So we can combine those two effects per kill. That will greatly help your sustain in fighting, and you can use it even with like NPCs. If you're trying to take a resource and there are people there, you can do this to help keep your resources full, or to regen your resources quickly to stay in the fight. We are running Crystal Frag. Basically, we throw this out when we get the proc. Of course, our Twilight will be our pet of choice that we'll be double barring and also using as our heal. Flame Reach for our knockback. Haunting Curse to get the double proc. Shooting Star for our ultimate, so we can gen it back as fast as possible. Resto Bar side, we use Light's Champion. It's a great heal. The Major Force helps us also become aggressive once they thought that they had us on our back heels. Harness Magica. Harden Ward. Our Power Surge really helps out to have the heal off of our crit. To be able to heal ourselves while being aggressive is very nice. And then Streak. Okay, so when you're ready to make the transition away from running a pet, you can go ahead and get rid of Mighty Chuden, because now you have the extra bar space to run your resistance buff. If you're still fairly new and getting comfortable with the idea of not running a pet, and still maybe struggling from time to time with getting overwhelmed, then I would suggest your transition away from Chuden and go to Pirate Skeleton. That way you keep your 2 resistances buffs up for the spell and physical at that 3,000. But you also have the times where you're going to proc the major protection for you. However, if you're feeling really comfortable and you're very disciplined with keeping your shields up and you're handling pressure really well, then I suggest switching Chuden out to Bloodspawn. You're going to lose the physical and spell resistance off your one piece, but you're going to pick up the extra stamina recovery, which with the more advanced build should have you somewhere around 1,600 stamina recovery with the Bloodspawn. Plus, you still will get the proc of the extra resistances, but the alt gen is really what makes this the best choice. And also, with all these monster sets, however, whatever ones you have, shoulder pieces and head, make sure you're staying in a 5-1-1 setup. Okay, with the fact that we're no longer running pets, obviously we don't need the Necro Potency. So we're going to switch it out for Amber Plasm. This is what's going to allow us to add a little bit more to our critical or spell damage, but the 250 recovery for both magic and stamina is huge, especially when you're getting in those 1vx situations and you need your dodge rolls, you need your break freeze. The thing that's going to kill a magic Sorc is getting resourced stammed out, being able to get locked down and get in trouble because you can't dodge roll out of a negate, things of that nature. That's how you're going to get killed. So being able to keep up your stamina and having that 1,600 recovery is really nice. And again, we're still doing the multi-effect enchantment to get the tri-stat to keep our health up and our max stam up. infused on the chest and legs. And we switch out one of the spell damages for a recovery on our jewelry. So without the pet on the skills, I go ahead and front bar my Boundless Storm. And on the back bar, healing is really kind of up to you how you want to do it. I'm very used to using the healing ward. It's great. You can proc up to 22,000 heals off of it. However, with some changes, it might not be the best next patch. So with the Resto Staff, you can also run your mutagen if you wish to get those constant ticks and have it there for when you drop below 20%. But something else you may want to try out is Combat Prayer. Especially if you're going to do some small group stuff, because not only is it a heal for you, but it's a heal for your allies. You don't have to worry about the healing ward going to somebody else when you need it. But you can also use this with timing out your burst. So that way you're gaining your minor berserker, plus you're getting a little bit of extra defense from your minor resolve and minor wards. But really, it's about the minor berserker with your heal. Now, when it comes to the food, obviously, since we're centering our build around Bright Throats, we have to use drinks. So, pick your drinks based off of what you feel your build needs for your playstyle. Alright, if you don't need the 3,000 recovery, then go ahead and switch off of Witch Mothers. Look at if you're needing more stamina because you're just not balancing it well, it's not there when you need it to break free, you're over blocking too much, things of that nature, then try out Spring Loaded so you get the tri-stat and get that extra 3,800 stamina. Bloody Mara is great for the max health and max magicka. You're gonna lose again a little that bit of Witch Mother's recovery, but the extra health, the increase your shield size, sometimes it's worth it. We are a vampire on the build, but again, I don't really worry about it because anytime I have to pop a Bloody Mara, I just switch over, put Mistform on my bar, literally cast it like 12 times, and I'm already back to stage 4. So it's not an issue to run Bloody Mara on a vampire build. Like I said, we are a vampire for this particular build, and that's what really helps us to hit the regen numbers for both stamina and magicka on it. I do run the lady just for the extra physical and spell resistance. Give me a little bit more defense. I don't really need recovery or more max. If you feel like you don't get pressured enough and you're really comfortable with your shield stacking, then go ahead and put into spell damage at this point. Work on your burst. Whatever it is that you're feeling that you're comfortable with and ready for when it comes to your Mundus Stone, go ahead and put that in. Alright, for CP, 56 into Warlord, so we were able to break free. 27 into Siphoner to hit 7% to help drain our enemy's resources. 43 into Tenacity, 49 and 43 for our recoveries, and 51 into Tumbling, the extra point, throwing it into Befoul. 56 into Elfborn, 64 into Elemental Expert, 57 into Spell Erosion, 16 into Staff Expert, 66 into Master of Arms, 11 into Thaumaturge, 51 into Ironclad, 22 into Spell Shield, 55 into Resistant, 22 into Light Armor, 37 and 37 for Hardy and Elemental, 23 into Thick Skinned, and 23 into Bastion. Now, at this point, if you're not going to run the Healing Ward, and you're going to run Combat Prayer, Rapid Regen, or Mutagen for next patch, then you can definitely go ahead and do away with the 23 points into Bastion and get you some extra mitigation in the other areas. Alright guys, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this build guide. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I'll answer them as soon as I can. If you like the content, please remember to subscribe and like the video. Thanks for your guys' time.